Ashore. If something goes ashore, it goes from water to the land.
After a long day of fishing, Glenn pulled his boat ashore so it wouldn't float away.
Contradict. To contradict means to state the opposite of what someone else has.
Ken was always fighting with his little sister because she kept contradicting him.
Counterpart. A counterpart is something that is very similar to something else in what it does.
Our manager will meet our rival company's counterpart later today.
Devoid. When something or someone is devoid of a thing, they are missing it.
The movie was devoid of any violence, so it was a perfect movie for the family.
Diverge. To diverge is to become different or to follow a different direction.
The road diverged into two paths that led to our houses.
Elude. To elude means to avoid being caught by something.
The rabbit eluded the wolf by hiding in a bush.
Embryo. An embryo is a human or animal that is still growing inside its mother.
Some doctors say that what a mother eats has a big effect on her embryo.
Fend. To fend off something means to push it away and avoid it.
Dave spent all night fending off bugs instead of sleeping.
Fictitious. When something is fictitious, it is made up and not real.
The author said that the characters in her book were completely fictitious.
Gazette. A gazette is a newspaper.
Alice wants to write for a gazette when she's older.
Homogeneous. If something is homogeneous, it is made up of things which are all the same.
All of the houses on Victor's block were boring and homogeneous.
Obstruct. To obstruct something means to get in its way.
The car broke down on the road and obstructed traffic for hours.
Plunge. To plunge means to move down into something very quickly.
The water in the pool was very cold, but the boy plunged in anyway.
Prolong. To prolong means to make something last for a longer time.
Sandy walked slowly across the beach, trying to prolong her lunch break.
Publicize. To publicize is to make something get a lot of attention.
The company publicized the job positions in the newspaper.
Sparse. If something is sparse, there is not very much of it in a big area.
Rob spent Saturday in his garden, clearing out the sparse weeds.
Surplus. A surplus is an extra amount of something.
The store sold their surplus items on sale.
Theorize. To theorize means to develop ideas about something.
They enjoyed theorizing about how things worked.
Verify. To verify means to find out if something is true.
Julian called the movie theater to verify that the movie started at 9.
Vigorous. If something or someone is vigorous, they use a lot of energy.
Henry uses vigorous exercise to keep himself in shape.
Altar. An altar is a table used in churches.
The altar had many lit candles on it.
Arthritis. Arthritis is an illness causing pain and swelling in a person's joints.
Agatha couldn't play the piano anymore because of her arthritis.
Botany. Botany is the study of plants.
Gardens are the best places for botany.
Credible. If something or someone is credible, they can be believed or trusted.
Dick gave a credible reason for being late and didn't get in any trouble.
Deceased. If someone is deceased, they are dead.
We visited the graves of our deceased grandparents.
Deception. Deception is the act of lying or tricking someone.
The magic looked very real, but it was only deception.
Decipher. To decipher writing is to figure out what it says.
My teacher complained that she couldn't decipher my essay.
Dung. Dung is solid waste material produced by animals.
There was cow dung all over the field.
Dusk. Dusk is the time in the evening when it begins to get dark.
After dusk, Hannah would catch fireflies in the park.
Gratify. To gratify someone means to please them.
Bonnie was gratified after receiving her gift from her parents.
Hone. To hone something is to improve it and make it very good.
Lisa honed her chess skills by hours and hours of practice.
Mash. To mash something is to crush it so that it is soft.
We mashed the hard potatoes and served them for dinner.
Ornate. If something is ornate, it is decorated with a lot of fancy things.
Kim's prom dress was very expensive since it was so ornate.
Pneumonia. Pneumonia is a dangerous illness causing the lungs to fill with fluid.
Elaine got pneumonia after playing outside in the rain without a coat.
Psychic. When someone is psychic, they know what will happen or what people think.
I think my grandmother has psychic abilities because she can predict anything.
Psychotic. If someone is psychotic, they have a very serious mental illness.
The psychotic patient believed he saw things that weren't real.
Scope. The scope of something is how many people or things it relates to.
Modern history has a wide scope.
Sinister. If something or someone is sinister, they are evil.
Bad guys in most movies have sinister laughs.
Strife. Strife is disagreement or fighting between people or groups.
There was a lot of strife between Jim and Lisa about what TV show to watch.
Therapeutic. If something is therapeutic, it helps to cure a disease or makes you healthier.
After a stressful day of working, Phoebe would take a therapeutic bath.
Congested. If something is congested, it is full or blocked.
Tom didn't get home until after dark because the road was so congested.
Courier. A courier is someone who takes and delivers mail or packages.
Before trains, most couriers used horses to travel.
Deform. To deform something means to change it from its correct or original shape.
The computer program deformed the building's picture into an unreal sight.
Etiquette. Etiquette is the group of rules about how to be polite.
When in Asian countries, bowing is a form of etiquette.
Exclusive. If something is exclusive, it is expensive and only for rich people.
The golf course was so exclusive that most people hadn't even heard of it.
Freight. Freight is a set of items carried on a train, boat, or airplane.
Trade ships only carried valuable freight like silk and spices.
Garment. A garment is a piece of clothing.
The businessman had all of his garments cleaned before the important meeting.
Insomnia. Insomnia is a condition in which a person has difficulty sleeping.
Nate's insomnia prevented him from getting enough rest.
Intuitive. Intuitive is knowing about something without naturally having support or proof.
Rhonda had an intuitive feeling that Shane wasn't coming to school today.
Liable. If something is liable to happen, it is very likely that it will happen.
During the summer months, hikers in the forest are liable to see deer and elk.
Obsess. To obsess about something means to think about it all of the time.
After watching the Star Wars movies, Ike obsessed about becoming a Jedi.
Overboard. When something is overboard, it is over the side of a boat and in the water.
Tom and Gary slipped on the wet floor and fell overboard.
Premium. A premium is a payment that is higher than average.
Tony paid for premium gas because it made his car run the best.
Privilege. A privilege is a special right given to only a certain person or group of people.
Only the best employee had the privilege of parking in that spot.
Propel. To propel something means to push or move it somewhere.
The strong wind propelled the leaf through the air and across the street.
Socialize. To socialize is to have a good time with people.
I like to socialize with my classmates after school.
Suppress. To suppress something means to prevent it from happening.
She suppressed her urge to scream because she didn't want to be noticed.
Tram. A tram is a vehicle like a streetcar that runs on electricity above ground.
I took the tram to 8th Avenue.
Unsettle. To unsettle someone means to make them anxious or worried.
The dark clouds in the sky unsettled Beth.
Warp. To warp means to become bent into the wrong shape.
The woman put the clock above the fireplace, and the heat warped it.
Artery. An artery is a tube that takes blood from the heart to the rest of the body.
Eating healthily keeps your arteries clean so blood can flow with ease.
Deterioration. Deterioration is the act of becoming worse.
The lack of care led to the deterioration of the house.
Elusive. If something or someone is elusive, they are hard to find.
The elusive fish only came out at night.
Forage. To forage means to look around for food.
Many animals hide food in the fall since little can be foraged in winter.
Impede. To impede something means to keep it from moving or going forward.
The barrier impeded our ability to get closer to the building.
Induce. To induce something means to make it happen.
Running without good shoes may induce leg pain.
Inseparable. If two things are inseparable, they can't be separated.
Denise and Diana have been inseparable since they first met.
Invalid. If something is invalid, it is not correct.
The way to winning debates is to avoid invalid arguments.
Magnify. To magnify something means to make it look bigger than it really is.
Astronomers use telescopes to magnify faraway stars.
Mainstream. The mainstream is a group of ideas that are considered normal and accepted.
Before punk rock music became part of the mainstream, only a few people liked it.
Microbe. A microbe is a very small living thing that often makes people sick.
The first step in curing a disease is finding the microbe that causes the disease.
Negligible. If something is negligible, it is extremely small and not important.
The amount she owed was negligible. It was less than 10 cents.
Paralysis. Paralysis is the loss of the ability to move all or part of your body.
His paralysis meant that he had to use a wheelchair to get around.
Pest. A pest is an animal or insect that hurts plants or food.
Many farmers put up scarecrows to keep pests off of their corn.
Prevail. To prevail means to be accepted or very common.
Unfortunately, injustice still prevails in the country's court system.
Respiration. Respiration is the act of breathing.
Artificial respiration is the best thing to do if someone stops breathing.
Rupture. To rupture means to tear or burst open.
Sarah put too much water into the balloon and it ruptured.
Savage. If something or someone is savage, they are very violent or cruel.
Wild animals are very savage when defending their babies.
Stun. To stun someone means to make them unable to speak due to surprise or shock.
Tim fell off the swing and was too stunned to cry.
Susceptible. If one is susceptible to something like disease, they are easily harmed by it.
Not eating enough vegetables makes you more susceptible to getting sick.
Accumulate. To accumulate something is to collect a lot of it over time.
The mail accumulated in their mailbox while they were on vacation.
Aerial. When something is aerial, it relates to being in the air or flying.
The aerial photographer took pictures from the air balloon.
Apparatus. An apparatus is a device used for a particular purpose.
The campers had an apparatus that showed them their exact location.
Avalanche. An avalanche is a large amount of snow, ice, and rock falling off a mountain.
The avalanche destroyed the mountain village.
Consistency. Consistency is the state of always behaving in the same way.
Her consistency in archery meant that our team had a chance to win.
Convection. Convection is the flow of hot air through gas or liquid.
The weather changed because of convection in the atmosphere.
Discharge. To discharge someone is to allow them to leave from a place, usually a hospital.
I was discharged from the hospital after 3 days.
Intact. When something is intact, it is complete and not damaged.
Despite being over 10 years old, my father's model ship is still intact.
Mortal. When a person is mortal, they cannot live forever.
All people are mortal.
Omen. An omen is a sign of what will happen in the future.
He thought that seeing a black cat in the street was an omen of bad luck.
Overcast. When the sky is overcast, it is full of clouds and is not sunny.
The sky was overcast in the morning, but by noon it was bright again.
Poignant. When something is poignant, it causes a very strong feeling of sadness.
The girls cried at the end of the poignant movie.
Ranger. A ranger is a person who protects the forest or parks.
Peter wanted to be a ranger because he liked spending time outside.
Rubble. Rubble is piles of broken stone and wood created after a building is destroyed.
There was rubble all over the city after the earthquake.
Seclude. To seclude someone means to keep them away from other people.
She was secluded on an island for over a year.
Sideways. If something moves sideways, then it moves to or from the side.
Jim turned sideways in order to slow down and stop his snowboard.
Sob. To sob is to cry loudly.
I sobbed when my youngest daughter got married.
Sober. When something or someone is sober, they are serious and calm.
After the funeral, everybody felt very sober.
Speck. A speck is a very small mark or amount.
A speck of blood appeared where the mosquito bit him.
Upbringing. An upbringing is the way that someone is taught to behave by their parents.
He had a strict upbringing and was never allowed to watch television.